Now it's time for the candidates to ask each other a question. Each candidate has no more than 30 seconds to ask the question. The candidates each will have 1 minute to answer the question and 45 seconds for the rebuttal. Governor Lingle, you get to ask the first question.
Thank you. Congresswoman Hirono, during your years in the legislature, you were an advocate for a law that harmed Native Hawaiians. You led the fight to force the mandatory leasehold conversion of Ali'i Trust lands, and after that you stood by when the administration you were a part of stopped ceded land payments to OHA. In my first months as governor, I restored those payments and spoke against mandatory leasehold conversion. How can the Native Hawaiian people trust you to represent them in the U.S. Senate when your record shows you have continually abandoned their interests?
My record in supporting Native Hawaiians is long and strong, and the Native Hawaiian community recognizes that. The Land Reform Act was passed long before I ever got to the legislature, and that was a very important piece of legislation that promoted fairness. Having said that, I know that Governor Lingle went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court to push the proposition that the state of Hawaii should be able to sell ceded lands. And this is in spite of the fact that Native Hawaiian communities opposed it. And this was very recently. And as for the support for the Akaka bill, she notes that she supported it, but at a very critical time in the year 2010, when the Akaka bill was going to come to the floor of the U.S. Senate for a vote, she sent a letter to every single U.S. senator urging them not to support it. So the Republicans did not. That vote never came to a vote. If it had, it would have been passed. President Obama would have signed it into law. And one of the most critical issues for Native Hawaiians would be law right now. She didn't help.
Thank you very much, Representative Hirono. Governor Lingle, your rebuttal.
Congresswoman Hirono mentioned the Land Reform Act, but that has nothing to do with the law that she advocated for in the state legislature to force the Ali'i Trust to sell their land. Also, she mentioned ceded lands and the case. It was the same position that Governor Waihee and Governor Cayetano took. It's because I was representing all the people of Hawaii. I never sold an acre of ceded land during my time in office, and in fact, we transferred state lands to the Department of Hawaiian Homelands that has allowed all the hundreds of homes to be built in Kapolei. The reason the Akaka bill hasn't passed until now is because there's been no Republican in the United States Senate delegation from Hawaii. They had a majority in the House, the Senate, and a Democrat president who was from Hawaii, and they still couldn't get it passed. They need a Republican member of the Senate to convince fellow senators to support this very important bill.
Thank you very much, Governor. Representative Hirono, your question now for Governor Lingle.
My first question to you, Linda, is this. Apart from the fact that both you and Mitt Romney are Republicans and therefore are on the same team, I'm very interested in knowing why specifically you believe Mitt Romney would be a better president for Hawaii than President Obama.
I'm like most people in Hawaii that we're very proud when a person who was born and raised here at home became president of the United States. It's true that President Obama inherited a very difficult economy and a very difficult situation. And he's tried, and I'm sure he's done his best to make things better, but it just hasn't worked. We have more people today unemployed. We have more women living in poverty today. We have more people on food stamps. Governor Romney is a person who has, I believe, the proper experience at this time to get our economy back on track, and I think that's the #1 issue facing the country.
Thank you very much, Governor. Representative, your rebuttal.
I know that my Republican opponent continues to tout that she is bipartisan, but how bipartisan was it for her to go out on the campaign trail to support the McCain-Palin ticket, and she is currently a co-chair in the Romney campaign. And like him, she supports eliminating Obamacare, I have a bit of a cold. I do apologize to the viewers. Raising the age for Social Security, making sure that the richest people in our country continue to get their tax breaks. These are issues that are really important to the people of Hawaii. So, you know, she doesn't talk about really why she is on the same page with Mitt Romney on these issues that are of critical importance to the people of the state of Hawaii.
All right, thank you very much, ladies. Now it's time for a short break. And when we come back, we'll join Laura Yamada in our web center to have questions from our viewers. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.